Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our presentation here in the Issues Room. Today is our 125th production. We'd like to welcome you wherever you are all over the world, as we say, because we believe when you are on social media, there is a possibility that you are reaching so many people across the globe. We welcome you wholeheartedly tonight. I'm Volcano Shelton. I will be joined shortly by Moses Sandy, but this production covers an array of issues we want to talk about tonight. And we'll hope that a lot of you will join us. Come in the chat room to let us know you're here so we can recognize you. We also appeal to you to share the link, invite others to join us uh, here tonight. So many things has happened, or rather have happened lately over the last few days, and we'll be covering some of those very critical issues. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. Those of you in Liberia, if you're just joining us for the first time, we say thank you. Those of you in Africa, those of you around the world, we say thank you for joining us. Hink Sin Tamba, thanks for being the first folk here in the issues room tonight. We have a lot of issues to talk about. Let me bring on Moses Sandy. And Hinksin says he's watching from Burkina Faso.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful. We say
That's
thank you so
beautiful.
much. And hang tight with us. Share the link as well. Moses, good to see you again. We were not here last Friday, and it was predicated on the funeral service of Dr. Daniel E. Cassell. We'll say a friend and
Yeah.
a brother, a Liberian, who passed on Christmas Day. We had to attend the wakekeeping and the funeral. In fact, the issues room brought in a little bit of the funeral. I'm sure you saw the clip,
Yeah.
but we had to, stand with our brother, our fallen brother. So again, we will also not be broadcasting this Friday because all roads lead to Dallas, Texas, where we'll be burying another prominent Liberian broadcast journalist who served his country well, who was our boss, I'll put it that way. And the name is Patrick Manjo. We'll be laying him to rest on Saturday this week. And so the issues room will be on the broadcast on Friday. We might probably throw light on the wakekeeping just a little bit, like we did with Dr. Cassell. But again, just wanted to give a hint to our audience. Fergie Monyu, thank you so much for joining us. Moses, welcome.
Thank you, Volcano. Uh, as always, it is pleasing to be back. Like we indicated earlier, the weekend was a little bit a moment of sadness for the issues room for Liberians in the um, United States, especially on the East Coast. We a lot of us show up for the late Daniel E. Cassell's funeral. And for kind of why we were trying to deal with that on Monday, on Sunday, another sad news came. And this time, another colleague of ours, Marisa, a female Liberian journalist who resided in the state of Minnesota. Before she relocated to the United States, she was a videographer at the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs, and Tourism. She worked in the television department, and Marisa passed on Sunday. So it has really been difficult for Canada. I know you will agree with me on that.
Well, tonight we've come in the issues room to look at an array of uh, pertinent issues that came out in a few days. Uh, a social media podcaster who has a media empire, uh, radio and television, and a famous talk show uh, that came to being as a result of the climate in Liberia, Spoon Talk. Mr. Stanton Witherspoon uh, is currently uh, dealing with the legal system in America. This has been the topic over the last several days, both nationally and internationally. In fact, some of the news outlets here in America uh, mentioning it. I was driving to work, and 105.3 FM WDAS had a news story where 26 of the nurses affected by this issue surrounding the wire fraud and fake diploma and all of that, their licenses were revoked because they got their licensure through the Siena college out there in Florida that is tied to Mr. Witherspoon. And again, I was trying to say that it's all over. It's a global phenomenon. In small chatters, in small quarters, some nursing students were talking about it in my workplace, and they were concerned that they knew some people who were impacted by graduating or getting those diplomas, from under the three schools. So it's a big situation, Moses. So far, what do you make up of it, and what do you think about this situation?
Well, Volcano, like you and any other Liberian, I think it is a very sad situation to see a promising young man that was really touching the lives of people. You know, this guy was a donor. He was helping a lot of people. And Volcano, the question most of the time I ask myself is, how much does Mr. Waterspoon earn from Liberia, giving the media conglomeration that he has in the country? I'm told that he has 4 radio and television stations. So where is the media market? This is a question I've always asked myself as a journalist. So to have such a setup in a country like that, providing employment, and then finding yourself in a situation like this, the implications are very huge. That going to if and we're not trying to say or convict Mr. Witherspoon, yeah, but if he's convicted, that may impact his businesses in Liberia. That may impact his life in a negative way because he's one of a 25 presidents that since 2018, we're being probed by the feds. And Volcano, in this country, when the feds start knocking on your door, it just doesn't come by lightly. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work. So the guys put a lot of work into it. And what we are told is that if anyone is found guilty, the person run the risk of going to jail for 20 years. Uh, to 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 give credentials, and this is something that we need to talk about. To allegedly give fake academic credentials, fake licenses to individuals claiming to be nurses. Can you imagine, Volcano, having a relative in the nursing home, going to a hospital where one of such person is working and administering drugs to you? I mean, it's like sending somebody to kill people. So this is a serious man. And I would like to wrap up by saying that in the wake of this crisis, the media platform that Mr. Witherspoon has established, Spoon Talk, the credibility of Spoon Talk has been drawn into question. Spoon Talk has lost the public trust because if the man, the brain behind the CEO, is being investigated for reported fraud, then what is the credibility? In journalism, we say, what? The medium is the message. So if you work for an entity that is being probed for dishonesty, then how credible can you be? So I think Mr. Spoon and his panelists will really need to start thinking about whether they can continue this or not. Because for now, The credibility has been thrown out of the window. I would like to stop that.
And I think the fear here also, Moses, is that when you think about some of the risks taken by people,
Yeah.
you told me someone paying $25,000 raw cash money for an RN,
Yeah.
an LPN or LVN, meaning licensed
LPN,
vocational
yeah.
nurse,
Mm-hmm.
paying 15 grand. When you do the math, 7,600 students,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
7,600 students, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that's a lot of money to think about. And I think it amounts in the tune of 114 million dollars.
114 million US dollars.
So
That's what
that's
the
a lot
feds
of money.
reported.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of money here we're talking about. And even as much as 25 people are, involved, who takes the greater weight? Because if you look at the accomplishment of Mr. Witherspoon and what he owns now, there is a lot that he might have to deal with because he's one of the forerunners. If you look at it, uh, he's the one that on the news, he's the one that is more, prone to all of this. And I listened to him when he came out and said that everything in the media is in the media. However, he's been advised not to have anything to do with talking because his legal,
Team.
team has advised that that doesn't happen. But he is very much eager to want to speak.
Yeah.
When you think on something like this, and the brother is saying that he's eager to speak, like you said, Moses, the feds don't come without being solid
No.
because the rate of getting the culprit or the perpetrator, to book is high at probably 97 to 98% that they
Absolutely.
can win.
Mm-hmm.
So it means that before they run out here, they want to make sure that all of the R's are dotted, the T's are crossed. They have done due diligence to the process before they kick the door down. And once
Absolutely.
they kick the door down, they already know based on the crime what would be the outcome of the crime, what would be, the restitution, what would be the jail time, all of those things, and whether it leads to deportation, all of that.
Everything.
Okay, so there's a lot here for us to think about, and I personally feel bad for the situation. uh the young man came across, as doing very well, same as Dr. Daniel Cassell, who
Mm-hmm.
also had his fair share of what took place. And of course, he didn't come clean. He didn't come clean in the context of facing his day in court, where he was exonerated, and peace be to his ashes, and he passed on. People are also on social media trying to equate the two situations, thinking that what happened on the other hand could happen on the other hand. But again, what this whole situation presents, again, like you said, is the credibility issue
Yeah.
for the Spoon Television and its network, for the panelists, because I'm sure those panelists will be probed at some point to determine whether they were aware of anything, what information do they know, how are they being paid. There are speculations about each person getting $500 weekly or $1,000 weekly. People just saying things, and
And,
and
Volcano,
that is why.
just to piggyback, you know how when people just throw numbers out there,
Yeah,
right?
but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. And why you think guys like and I'm about to throw it in here. Why you think guys like Eugene Fagona has turned to a panelist? If you're getting $500 weekly, you
Not
need not
too
push
G, my man.
cartoon. You need not push cartoon like us. So now my man, a big panelist on the show, and so it's sad, uh, to say the least. But we just wanted to say whatever the outcome is, we pray for the best, whether on both sides, because There are people who are victimized, those students, even though they took the chance knowing that they were going the wrong path.
Mhm.
But in some instances, they're victimized. And if they have worked and it depended on the span of their employment, they may have gained their monies back.
Yeah.
So they got to start all over. When you think about the risks, the probable risks that were associated, of course, as it stands, no news has come out regarding any medical malpractice tied to those students who were involved with this. But again, there's a lot of investigation still ongoing, so we don't know where
Absolutely.
this goes. But we just want to wish Mr. Witherspoon well. um, there is a consequence for any crime committed in this country and in any other country for that matter, especially when you look at the judicial system here. It is 90% of the time doesn't compromise. So, like you said, the magnitude of this matter is very serious, and no one should think that is light. If if he found guilty, what happens to his industry? Uh, because there's a tendency for people to depend on the man's pocket because he can dish the money out to pay, but they're not being innovative to turn the entity into a money making entity for itself. He was very clear that he would take no bribes from government. He made it very clear. And many of the media outlets in Liberia, they are getting compensated by government. So
Good.
where's that opportunity for them to stay viable,
Yeah.
remain, able to sustain outside of his pockets? That would be the issue now going forward.
Yeah. Yeah. And Volcano is
Because I'm
good to
sure,
say that.
quickly before
Yeah.
you say
It's,
something,
yeah. Go
I'm
ahead.
sure that they've put freeze on his asset.
Fine.
I'm
I was
sure
just
they have
about
put
to talk
freeze
about
on his
that.
bank
Yeah.
account. So what's gonna happen?
And like what you said, what we have seen over the year, what studies have shown, when people are linked to this kind of a high crimes, their assets are frozen. He may not be able, Mr. Waterspoon may not be able to access the money that he had absolute control of in a situation like this. Sometimes in situations like this, even if you have institutions that are operational, the Fed immediately bring to an end the operation of those institutions. So what we're talking about, Volcano, this is a serious matter. It's
But
like
but
telling
I also believe that the schools are already closed.
that's what I learned that the schools have
The schools are
already
closed.
been
Of
closed.
course, they're not going to operate
Yeah.
if they're being investigated. But
Yeah.
think about it now. So let's leave America because, of course, they will stop everything, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to Liberia, where lately Mr. Witherspoon started to be a little tough talking on the government. And the government said, okay, all this is criminal money, we'll close everything down, we'll shut it down. I'm just being hypothetical here. And they
Yeah.
got Christian man on the grounds, right? And
Yeah.
man, I said, listen, that man was talking people on here the other day. Okay, and he said one bribing, you shut it thing down. The way they
Well,
invest, I'm coming. The way they investigating in America, we'll do our own investigation here too. So you shut it down. What
yeah.
happens to those employees? What happens to
To their
everybody?
families, to their
Yeah.
families. Yeah. That would be taking away, uh, income from those workers and their families would depend on them for livelihood. Okay. And another thing, even though Mr. Waterspoon is being probed in the United States for reported crime, there are no indications that he ever committed a crime in Liberia. But this is what the government could do. If the government, uh, to some point, was getting a little bit uncomfortable with the broadcast of Spoon, you know, when a broadcast license is issued, it has time of expiration. So if that time expires and they go for renewal, the government may choose and say, oh, well, and they can come up with a whole lot of bureaucracies or bottlenecks that will
Mm-hmm.
make it difficult for,
So renewal.
yeah, to renew the license. And if that doesn't happen, then what happened to the network? everything will crumble. So this is a serious matter. I heard, in fact, I read that Waterspoon was asking people to pray for him. So I don't know whether the churches in Liberia were treating him like they did for Nathaniel McGill. They were offering prayer, and Waterspoon too has turned to the church for prayer. We hope that the people will pray for him. And don't get it wrong, we are not jubilating.
Oh no,
We
absolutely
are
not.
just speaking
Absolutely not.
to what is obtaining, because that's what this talk show is about. We discuss the contemporary issues. I got a lot of friends who are associated with Mr. Waterspoon. I know Mr. Waterspoon, very respectful young man. Uh, we have friendship, but we're just being honest here. We're being honest here.
And I think we're just analyzing the situation about the what if and
Yeah.
making comparative analysis to other issues that have
Mhm.
occurred. And we just mentioned, the same for Dr. Cassell, they shut down his businesses while, he's being probed. So these things happen. And it's unfortunate that, this has gone on for a long time. The feds were looking into this matter since 2018. That's 5 years ago, so that's enough of time to gather the evidence. In fact, people are saying that as part of their investigation, undercovers went in the school
Yeah.
to pretend to be students who were themselves taking money from.
Yeah.
That's the evidence.
Yeah. FBI agents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Mhm.
were able to sustain some of the documents, and I think they call it wire fraud because of the interstate relationship in this
Mhm.
matter.
Mhm.
When you look at New Jersey, you look at Delaware, you look at Florida, that's interstate crime because
Yeah.
it's moving from
And at the
state.
same
Yeah,
time, the feds was monitoring his telephone conversation. They were also monitoring his email communication. So everything was being tapped. You see, so again, I know people are going to say, "Oh well, Moses and Volcano, we just been honest here as journalists because this is what we love to do. We are not in the business to put anybody down, but we are basically calling a spade a spade. A crime was committed that had to do with what?
allegedly.
Yeah, a crime was allegedly committed that has to do with what? Human lives. We're not talking about me taking my Chevy Malibu to pay boys and they send one young man who just graduated from any other technical school to still work on it. We're talking about somebody who allegedly gave licenses to individuals who had no clue in terms of what they were doing to go into hospitals and nursing homes and work with patients. That's a high degree of crime. That is not it's nothing that somebody can say, oh well, you people, you hate the man. No, has nothing to do with hatred. It's just calling a spade, Volcano.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of associated risks when you think about it, but overall, it's all alleged. And I think from the way Stanton spoke the other night when he came on his talk show, he seems to come across as he's confident. And so let's just wait to see where all of this goes. Again, we're just hoping for the best outcome for he and his family and his network. Hopefully, he can come out exonerated. He's able to make his case, and that's all we can hope for. Moses, Prince Johnson, the sitting senator of Nima County, doesn't seem to have interest in the presidency. Okay, so he has galvanized support and move on from becoming a candidate and tapping Jeremiah Cohn, grooming him, and putting him in there as the standard bearer. And because he doesn't have the desire, and it seems as though he's not being friendly again with the government, so he decided to uh, speak in his church. And whether it was preaching or it was speaking, because there's a difference in preaching and speaking, right?
Yeah.
But he went on to say that two major things he mentioned that had to do with the death, the unexplained death. And I use the word unexplained because even the outcome of what those cases were put forth by the government, people are still questioning.
Yeah.
But the SSS guy who allegedly rather shot himself 3 times, Prince said, and Prince is a master
Oh,
of
come on,
firearms.
man. The man
He
is
knows
a
he
former
knows
general.
he knows firearms, right?
Yeah, yeah, the man is a
So
former
that's
general.
what I'm saying. So he said that the bullet trajectory is not possible for the man to have shot himself 3 times. He was murdered.
Yeah.
He didn't stop there. He went on to say that um, the two auditors that were found on Broad Street, uh, one of them Gifty and the other guy Abbott or something,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
it was alleged that they were in a sexual relationship
Yeah.
and that they were in the car probably fondling and doing something. Um, Prince is saying that all the brothel, the hotels, the motel, and even Happy Corner, the pastor called Happy Corner near all.
So if you couldn't go to have it going on, eh?
He said, and even Happy Corner. Why the people couldn't go there? They had to sit around Broad Street to make love. He said that one that's not true. The people were killed. Moses, why is Prince talking now? Why didn't he talk then? Why are we coming to the elections and it sounds like he's trying to say he and the government are in bed again? Or is it a plot to put pressure on the government so they can bring one big grip of money to him? What your
Well,
thought on it?
yeah,
I've been thinking, I said, but why Prince talking now about killing when he
yeah,
one of the biggest killers,
yeah,
in Liberia, a man who just took people's life by the snap of the finger, randomly, indiscriminately, with irrelevant, meaning. And
yeah.
today he can talk and he claims to be a man of God. Is it he's speaking because it has financial undertone?
Well, over the
And don't get me
years,
wrong, he
n-
represents he represents
yeah,
the
he
mind, the
represents
mind,
the people of
I'm coming
Nimba.
the minds of those who still don't believe that these people died under the circumstances as presented by the government.
Yeah,
So he represents that group. And he's making a profound case here. But
of
is this
course.
case is tied to some financial undertone? That's what
Yeah,
people are questioning.
a very good question. I would say, Fred, I would like to begin on the note that these are serious allegations that the senator has made against the we administration. But again, sometimes people like to look at people holistically. And so if you take a closer look at Prince Johnson over the year, the senator has come across as somebody who is not reliable, unpredictable. The man will be smiling with you today, and tomorrow the man is your worst enemy. The man will come and condemn you today after a behind the scene discussion, he takes something, and the next day the man say, "Oh well, Volcano is my best friend." He did that during the Salif administration. He condemned the Salif administration when they started dishing out money to him. He supported the administration, the re-election of Mr. Salif. He was deeply involved with that. And then when the Salif administration was about to fade out, he also what he made a promise to support the former vice president. What did he do? When Prince John, I mean, when Mr. Weir and his people reached out to him, he what? He shifted his position. He pledged loyalty.
Because the man afraid
So
of more crime.
yeah, and they gave him a rating. The man took a rating, they gave it to him. So for me personally, looking at Prince Johnson right now, all these things he's saying, I would see it as a ploy to intimidate the administration, to coerce the administration, to do just what they did in the past. Give him more money. I can tell you, if the senator is called today and a discussion is held, a press is delivered, the Prince Johnson that you and I know will mount the podium and tell us that Mr. Weir is a saint and everybody should vote for him. So comments coming from Prince Johnson, I don't take it seriously. It's like having the Minister of Finance, Samuel Tua, talking to me about issues in the country. I don't believe him because he's a pathological liar. It's the same old thing with Prince Johnson. Prince Johnson is a pathological liar.
But doesn't he make a case here with regards to what he's saying?
These are legitimate, allegations. And anyone who is smart like yourself, Volcano, I am not a student of military science, but I do, as a rational person, I just can't comprehend that someone will shoot himself in the head once, but someone will shoot himself in the head 3 times. Once you hit that trigger the first time and the bullet goes, how possible is it for you to shoot yourself for the second or third time? This story coming from the government is just not adding up. How can the government prove that the auditors that died on Broad Street were having sex? Mr. Weir, was he there? Who in the government can come to say, well, they did some forensic and they were able to establish that hey, somebody was having sex with another person. That's a disgrace. That woman was a married woman. And I'm sure the male himself was also a married man. And for the government to come up with such, report alleging that these people were sexually involved, uh, I just don't buy it.
I think it was a sweeping statement, and the fact here, accordingly, the whole crime scene was staged.
Yeah.
Those people were murdered somewhere else, and they were brought to the scene because both of them were in the back seat, from what I think I heard. And so, again, the
So,
rational,
have you seen the 27 fraudulent RN list posted from D?
yeah, it was 26 now, probably the phone another
27.
person. But
Yeah.
as I was saying, right? So
Yeah.
you look at it from that perspective, that you can see that the crime scene was staged. They even brought the man's pants somewhere down so that it shows that he was, in a sexual
More, yeah.
action or whatever. But I think the truth here is we needed to hear some of these things from the onset, not in this last rush, because this is the year now that defines the character of people. So Prince Johnson has just shown that he's not a credible man, irrespective of him coming across to say that he's a born again, he's repented, and he's preaching the gospel. God is patient, Moses. You and I wouldn't even be sitting here to talk if we look back on our own sins.
Mm-hmm.
While it is true that our sins may not be as humongous as that of a Prince Johnson, but we've committed sin.
Oh, yeah. Every
And
one of
those
us.
sins, they're no different from any sin, because sin is sin.
Sin.
But to the degree of the sins that were committed, and to say that now you've been born again and you come on the pulpit and you're speaking against things that you did and you have not been contrite. That's the disconnect here, Moses. Prince Johnson has not been contrite to the Liberian people. He has not been contrite for the people who died on his watch, the poor late Tecumseh Roberts,
yeah.
who he claimed was killed by Vani, whereas the story says he killed Tecumseh.
See that?
And then asked the next day for the man to come sing for him. They said, but Chief, the man you killed the other day, you understand me? But he has not shown contrition for his sins. He has not come to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to say, oh, I'm sorry to the Liberian people. He has not been brought to justice through the TRC. So how can he say that he's repented and he's a man of God? This is where sometimes I wonder from the Liberian people, what are they thinking? What are they believing? That you will sit under the anointment of a Prince Johnson who has not asked for your human forgiveness, needless to say, God's forgiveness. The human forgiveness. All of the warlords have not shown contrition for the sins they committed against the Liberian people. He's a millionaire, not billionaire, but a millionaire. But he has not come and said, oh, wait a minute, all the money I made, all the boys in the street with 1 foot that holding clutches, the war combatants, I would be responsible for 300,000 of them or 150,000 of them. They will be my burden because I caused it to them.
Nah.
Somebody asked the last time, that little boy on the picture, when he was sitting there, there were manhandling President Dole, and he was showing his hand for a Budweiser, and this woman was fanning him. That little child on that picture, where is that child today? Where is that child? Who knows that child? What happened to that child? Because that child was under his watch. That child was a child soldier because he made him a child soldier. And the picture is there, it's global. Where is that child? Can he account for that child? So yes, he has a point, but he's not the one to make the point because he's not clean. He hasn't begged for mercy from the Liberian people.
No.
And like many of the other warlords who are now sitting in the House of Representatives and in the House of Senate, who have done heinous things to the people of that country, they've not shown any reason to be forgiven.
No
And they
remorse,
think
my
that
man.
they're entitled because of the gullibility, the ignorance of the people, to put the people on fear that they are the rescuers and they are the ones who will fight for them, and don't listen to the politician. The politician will just use you, but we are here to fight for you. This is a Nima thing. This is a Guillaume and a Mano man thing. It is you, it is we against the rest. And so that's that picture he continues to paint.
Yeah.
And so Moses, we just thought to throw this out here so that people can begin to think, what's the relevance of Prince Johnson in our elections? The other day we talked about two key components that have a potential to hurt our elections.
Of course.
Our at-risk youth, the
Race.
major voting population. If we don't give them the right education to understand their own rights and how for 6 years they've suffered, the livelihood is taken away, the ability to thrive in society is minute, is nowhere in place. You understand me? But then we talked about the TRC, lack of the implementation of the TRC recommendations. Warlords can still be kingmakers. They can still have a major play in our elections. And as you can see it now, Mr. Weah will do anything for another 6 years.
Of course, the man is desperate.
So all of the conversations now we're holding is tied to the outcome of our national elections, Moses.
Yeah, and like you said, the role of the quote unquote Zogos or the at-risk youth in Liberia in this election, Volcano, is going to be very critical because they are the one that the politicians intend to exploit. They will reach out to them, they will make promises to them, they will give them back a rise, they will give them few Liberian dollars in order to buy their votes. And we're talking about over 250,000 people consider Zogos. So that's a good number that if anyone who wants to win the election, to even get 100,000 of those people behind you, that's applause. So, like you said, Volcano, the role of these people in the election is very, very critical. You know, it's
Yeah.
very
So
important.
quickly, Joseph Conto is asking the question. He says, my question is If someone was to get killed today with Mr. Prince Johnson standing there as the only witness, he wouldn't be allowed to testify in court if there was a trial. Of course, he will.
It will be
We're not
because
saying
he
that
was there.
we're not saying what Prince said is wrong. We're just saying that it could have political undertone, financial undertone,
Of course.
to put pressure on the government, to put pressure on we have to sit down with him to the table and say, my man, you gotta stop talking, shut him up.
Yeah.
And y'all won't grape here. Shut him up.
And
You know.
we are talking about the genuineness of what he's saying. We're not saying that what he's saying is not true, but what is the motive? Money.
Mhm. All right, Moses. We are at the intermission. We'd like to thank all of you who have joined us here tonight in the issues room. We have Thomas Awaji. My brother, thank you for being here tonight. Mapu Hall, Paul Johnson, Joseph Conto. Seem to be the first time. Make the issues room a place where you can come to chill. G. Gwen Jones Smith. It's good to see you, lady. Thanks for joining us tonight. Emmanuel Jackson, of course, in the Boston area, Massachusetts, precisely. Tawanda T. Umontro Krenga. It's good to see you. Stim Bunge. Stim, good to see you. Your points are clearly taken. We'd like to say welcome to Foy J. Monyu and also to Hinksin Tamba out there in Burkina Faso for joining us here tonight. Cole Gloria Voca Moba, good to see you. Welcome to the show. We're here on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We are the Issues Room, the alternative social media platform that discusses the things that matter, particularly to Liberia, the African continent, and news emanating in the Black diaspora. Join us every Tuesday and every Friday. However, this Friday will not be broadcasting because a bunch of us journalists will be traveling to Dallas, Texas to lay to rest our fallen colleague, the late Patrick Manjo. Patrick was a premier broadcast journalist in our country, an icon in his own way, and he served up to Deputy Director General for the Liberia Broadcasting System. He matriculated here to the U.S. for many years, and he took sick and fought through his protracted period of illness. And unfortunately, on January 13, uh, he was called home by his maker. So this Friday will be his celebration of life, which is the wake keeping in Texas. And on Saturday, he will be laid to rest. So an array of journalists from across the U.S., even few may be coming from Liberia, to join in the ceremonies to lay our brother to rest. So we will not be here. The issues room team will be traveling up to Texas on Friday. And so by the time we get situated, we'll probably not be able to broadcast. But however, we'll be back on Tuesday next week. So we beg your indulgence. There's a possibility we may bring you a snippet from the wake keeping. Again, welcome. And we say thank you for being here with us. Moses. Before we go to the big one, the State of the Nation address delivered by President Weah. You know, LEC has been robust over the last several months with Mary Braw being the uh, task force commander, going around and jacking wires from on buildings, seizing people, meters, and grabbing people, arresting people, throwing people in jail, and all of that. So it's now an obligation. I spoke with someone today who gave me a clear, vivid detail of the situation trending, and I also spoke with two other people prior to that. But I wanted to verify what is happening with LEC and this new framework they've put in place. What it is now, if you are a homeowner, okay, and you have your home and you're renting your home, everyone who is renting must have their own meter and must have their own line
Oh, really?
coming to the house. Okay. Now, so
That's
not
crazy, man.
I'm not saying like the one room rental. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying you have an apartment or
Oh,
you have a
okay. A
building.
midnight, yeah, you
Yeah, you
should,
have
yeah.
a building, but you put an attachment to it. You
Okay.
have shared that apartment and just charge the rent on a one, bill, and then
Yeah.
the person's getting light from you, but it's also it's an attachment to the building. It's not away from the building sitting by itself, but it's an attachment. You know how people build one
Yeah.
house
Yeah.
and add multiple
Yeah.
compartments to them.
Hmm.
So what that means is that everyone who is a stand-up family by itself must have their own wire
Online
coming from the
running. Yeah.
pole and their own meter.
Okay.
But the renter cannot own the meter. The house owner must have the meter in his or her name. So
Oh.
if you have three renters in that facility,
Yeah.
means that the house owner has three meters in his
In
name
his name. No.
and three lines coming from the pole
To that one house.
to that one house. So accordingly, based on the distance that you will be running the wire to your building will
Hmm.
determine how much you will pay. So the example given today by the person I spoke with said
Yeah.
that from
Yeah.
the pole to the house was $25 for the wire. The
Wow.
meter itself,
For every line.
yeah, yeah, but for that line,
Oh,
that line,
okay.
again, as I said, it depends on the distance
Yeah. Oh, oh
from
wow.
the pole to the house where
It's
you would take from
25.
the wire the distance of the light pole to the building.
Yeah.
So that distance, the wire that was used
It's 25
for
bucks.
bringing the electricity was $25. US, okay? Let me speak in
Yeah.
that context. The
Yeah.
meter cost $50.
Wow.
Then to register the meter is an additional $30. But
So
you're
that
renting the meter
80,
in the house owner's name.
that's not fair.
All right. So then everyone is trying to get a curry now because they're routing up wires, all the underground thing, the mirror, shaking the town. Oh, great stuff,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But here's the thing that drew my attention. Accordingly, when you install the meter, you are being monitored to charge the meter. If for a few days you didn't charge the meter, they'll come and take the meter.
Oh, wait now.
Okay.
Okay. This is becoming a little bit complicated
Okay.
for me.
All right. Go ahead.
Explain that again. So
All right.
you're telling me, right?
I come to the LEC,
Yeah, you
I buy the
register.
meter, I buy the meter for $50. I
Yeah.
pay $30 to register the meter. They come to do my installation. You know the installation, the man on the feet, they gotta
Yeah.
eat a little
Yeah, you
thing,
gotta,
right?
yeah, probably the 80
I,
on
I,
there.
I, I get the current. Then let's just say I charge the meter for maybe 2 weeks. What's
Yeah.
the current?
Yeah.
Then 2 weeks down the road, I lost my job.
So it means they come to come take the meter from me?
Yeah, they come and take the meter. If you don't charge the
Oh,
meter, they come and take it. So they're monitoring your meter from the LEC station out there on Bruce Island. So
yeah.
everybody they say it's digitized, because I think this system came from South Africa or
Oh,
somewhere.
okay.
So they put a lot into it. So they're there, they can monitor your meter to know whether your meter is
It's
being
functional or
fed.
not.
No, yeah, it's being fed. Uh, Meaning you put some money in there
Yeah.
because you got something that you can go anywhere with and you can just recharge just like you do with a scratch card or a cell phone. So
Okay.
the point I was making when I spoke with the person and I said, this is crap. If I bought a meter, it's mine.
It's mine.
Practically it's mine.
It's mine. Yeah.
And if for any reason I can't charge that meter, let's just say if I went out of town, I traveled from Liberia to the Ivory
So
Coast.
Ghana or wherever.
Okay, and I'm gone for three weeks or a month
Then you come
because
and
I'm
take
not
my
charging
meter?
the meter because people ration electricity, Moses. They ration electricity because if you're going to work, you should turn your meter off so you can save your power. You can
Yeah.
just leave it on running, except you got your refrigerator and you got food in there, of course. But other than that, people literally turn the electric on all day and then turn it on like 7 o'clock in the
When they
evening.
come by, yeah.
But the point that I can't understand is that because my inability to put current in my meter, then I should lose it.
That's not fair.
So it means that just how the people can be baking, calling you, my man, please give me $20 on same wave. Now we come and
Yeah.
start paying for the current. Oh.
Yeah. And Volcano, and the saddest thing about it is that we're talking about people who are financially strapped. The man go hustle, he get a lay $50, he pays for the meter. You put the man
You know, I
under
can
the
enjoy my girl
impression.
when I can enjoy G when the girl say to buffer team up, buffer team up stealing, maybe run to a wire down to. Oh,
Go ahead.
you saw Bubba Chima sitting with what a guy named Greenfield, Jala Greenfield.
Oh no, I didn't
Oh
see
yeah,
that.
and they were there talking serious thing. How the government, the president with cattle law. It was prior to the speech. We'll come
Yeah.
later. But yeah, so go ahead.
Yeah, So as I was saying, we're talking about people who are financially strapped, that they have to literally borrow money here and there, and they make investment. Say, hey, I need electricity in this place. The person go, you put the person under the impression that they are paying, or he or she is paying for the meter. And my understanding of that would be that it is the person's property. You're not saying you're loaning it to the person, but you tell the person this costs $50. Installation costs this. So if I make my investment and I don't have the means of charging it, that's my business. Because if it is not charged, it has no impact on LEC, right?
No.
The power is going to go off. I will be in darkness. The day I get
Mhm.
money, then I
Uh-huh.
can charge it.
Yeah. So that the pressure on. So the pressure is on. So people, trying to deal with this situation. But again, as I said, it's another ploy,
Yeah,
to put,
man.
the people at ease, on the edge, rather. I meant to say, put them on the edge, and it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't,
Now,
man.
let's
It
say
doesn't.
if you say we're renting the meter to you for $1 a
Yeah,
month,
yeah.
okay, for $1 a month, then that is understandable. You can always come and take it if I'm not
And
able
take it,
to
yeah.
charge it for a period of time, and let
Right,
all of
right.
that be in the clause of the contractual
Contract that
agreement.
I would sign. Let me
Yeah,
sign that
say
contract.
you
Yeah.
got 3 months to at least every once 3 months you must charge
My
your meter.
charge it, yeah.
Otherwise, we'll come and take it. Then it makes sense. But to just say somebody need to be charging meter, what if I can't afford it? What if I lost my job?
I lost my job.
And the country already. So the man was making $50 per month. Uh, he would just be working for LEC.
No.
So what he would eat now? You know?
Yeah,
So
in fact, it means that the ordinary people would not afford, because take for example, like the guys who work at the Ministry of Information, and in $45 or $50 a
surprisingly,
month.
bosses don't even think that the ordinary people will not afford. The people been praying for Corinne to come to Liberia. Corinne is there now, so they will find a way. Liberian men can find a way. All
Yeah,
that thing they're doing, the people will stay put wire on the ground.
yeah.
All that thing they're doing. So everybody got work to do. They actually did all she could. FMP man and back in the town. They all she could. The people come right by. They built all the back building there all over along the
They're
road.
doing their own thing. Eh?
They all she could go see the drainages. But man, all the
Wow.
new drainages,
Clock.
the new road from EFWA to the
Yeah.
red light. The people have already. But man, Liberia is in serious stuff. Let's leave the corruption, but just let's look at the way of living
Yeah.
of our people. How they've regressed to the lowest. To the lowest. How will you take your diet from your home, put it in big bag, and come and put it
And
in
put
the
it in the trash.
drainage?
Can you imagine that, my man?
In the drainage on a brand new road. You need
Yeah,
to see some of the pictures on social media. This one that broad day witch. I call it one broad day witch. Because you're not
wow.
reaching anybody. And so when some of us started and say, oh, you're always talking about the country daddy, the country daddy. We the one from here making the country daddy. I don't take that and put it in my suitcase and carry to Liberia when I go to visit.
When you do stuff like that, you're hurting yourself, because it's your own health
You're
you're
living,
harming.
you're
Yeah.
living, you're living in the country and creating that image for the country. Then when the people in the diaspora are telling you, say you're dead in the country, then you say we buy muff in the country. For nobody here on this platform, nobody listening to us who live here, put that in the suitcases and go on vacation with it and throw it in Liberia. Nobody does that.
No.
They are the ones who are doing it.
Wow. Sad.
And Thomas, you're right. The way they build the road, the way they build the drainage, they just open it to the people and say, you can put that inside.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they should have put at
Yeah.
least something over the
Cover
drainage,
it.
whether
Yeah.
it's a
All the
screen,
drainages are
whether
open.
those
Yeah.
thick screen,
Hmm.
those very thick screen, they could put on a metal screen.
Yeah.
I would not
Cover.
allow them with small, plats.
Open it.
I would
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
allow them, would not allow them to throw dirt in it. But you just leave the whole drainage. So that's a whole nother situation, Moses. Or the whole Somalia Drive.
Wow.
The whole Somalia Drive. And that's the new way they build these drainage. They just put it right in the middle of the road. They took those things from those francophone countries.
Yeah.
How they can build the roads.
Okay.
You understand me? I don't
And
know
the
what
thing that whenever it rains, the
yeah,
water will just shoot
yeah.
down.
And nobody they built it, they didn't even dig down. They just set it on top of the road. To be
Oh.
honest, it's a funny kind of drainage. Funny stuff.
Wow.
And so that the new dumpster,
Hmm.
So
It's sad.
so much we can talk about. So much we can talk about. But the unfortunate thing, Moses, we don't have all the time in the world.
We don't.
So tonight it's 8 o'clock. We'll open the line at some point. Let's throw it out here quick on the president nationwide address or State of the Nation address. Let me not say nationwide, but State of the Nation address
Yeah.
to the 54th legislature. What are some of the key areas you picked up in that stuff? And you know something? I continue to say, President, I don't know. Is that guy was addressing the nation, as frequent as possible? He can barely read. Then you sit there and allow the people to write a dissertation for you that you're gonna stand there and read until you run out of breath, you run out of character, you run out of enthusiasm. Read this stuff to the point now it's a sleepy read.
Man, I
It's,
think you never
no,
get
a sleepy read.
My man, the people should
You
I
can barely
carry.
read. Why you will make what you want to say? You will wait for the whole year to come tell us everything when you could be telling us in bits and pieces. Then you just highlight in a summary. What type
Man.
of thing is this? But what are some of the key pointers you picked up?
But Volcano, let me start on this note. I think the error the people made was that they did not carry the little oxygen tank for the president
Mm-hmm.
because like, it got to a point he was out of breath. So when you struggle, with breathing, that's why they pull you on O2 oxygen. You got your little tank with you that helps you to breathe. But now let's come back to the sauna. The State of the Nation address is something that is constitutional. It happens every year. The Constitution provides that the president deliver his sauna on the fourth working Monday of January. Volcano, our president was late 1 week. This sauna should have been delivered on the 23rd because that was the fourth working Monday. But what did he do? It was delivered on the fifth working Monday.
No,
That's
I
a
think
violation of the
yeah,
Constitution.
but let me quickly correct you. The people just believe that only 4 weeks in a month. So the man go. The man felt that the fifth Monday was the fourth week in the
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. So the purpose of the sauna is to catalog the government's progress, challenges over the years, and put forth an agenda for the following year. It's not where you come and do a complete reflection of what you did from 2018 when you were inaugurated up to now. Because, like you said, Volcano, if you have been speaking on a consistent basis, this is something that you just come and throw the bullets to the people, right?
Mhm.
So, the president delivered his State of the Nation yesterday. A couple of things I pick up, and you already talk about that. Mr. Weir is a terrible communicator. You know, his presentation was very horrible. Delivery was bad. Too many grammatical errors. poor pronunciation. And one thing our president doesn't know is that if you listen to him, Volcano, as he was reading the statistics, one thing that you and I learned in grade school is that when you any number that comes after a decimal point
It's a
is not a
poinsettia.
whole number.
It's a
Take for
poinsettia.
example, yeah. Take for example, if I write 5.10, I mean, yeah, 5.10,
You can say
you
5.10.
cannot say 5.10.
But he has that problem. Or he's done it over time in all of his speeches because he doesn't
You
understand
doesn't know that.
numbers. Yeah,
And the man is a master's degree holder. So I don't know where he got his master's degree from. But again, let's come back
DeVry
to
University.
yeah. So he read at a third grade level. Because he's a terrible reader, what he did basically was recitation. He crammed everything. He had difficulties. This speech was so lengthy, more than 3 hours. Very lengthy, like you said, a dissertation. He read out for more than 3 hours. And then most people who sat in the audience had difficulty understanding him because he is a terrible communicator. Now, let's look at some of the things that he said. And this is where I would like for you to come in. The president reported to Liberians that the Weah administration has succeeded in decreasing the level of inflation in Liberia to a single digit. Do you believe that, Volcano? Is that true? Is that a fiction or a reality? Have you seen
Continue.
a decline in inflation in Liberia?
Go ahead.
You
Continue.
go there all the time, right?
Mhm.
Let's look at gasoline. Regular, you know, the cost of gasoline in the United States, regular, it's a little over $3. In Liberia, it's almost $5. Do the comparison. And someone say we have decreased inflation to single digits. So that's not true. You saw people literally fighting to buy a bag of rice. I'm told there has been an increase. There's an increase in almost everything, the cost of living in the country. And the man said he have decreased that to a single digit. That's not true. He said there has been an improvement in the economy. How many jobs has the we administration been able to create for Canada since ascending to the leadership? The president also made this order a false representation. He said his government is committed to fighting graft in the public sector.
So stop right there.
Volcano, is that true?
So stop right there. So when Jala Grayfield of LBS
Yeah,
asked what's his name, Buffer Chambers,
yeah.
regarding that,
Mm,
Buffer Chambers said that listen, it's evidenced by us bringing the ministers here to us. We are auditing because we are the ones who passed the budget.
mhm.
So just in the semblance of bringing the people here to address us is a form of audit. And of course,
Oh,
yes, we're fighting corruption. I mean, and I'm saying this because I'm looking at this man,
you
and
guys are
I'm like,
jokers, my man.
what wrong with these people? These people are Drafis liar. You know when they say you got Drafis in Liberia?
Yeah,
Drafis. But continue. So no,
yeah.
they're not fighting corruption.
No,
In fact,
but how can the president boast of fighting? Okay,
in
go
fact,
ahead.
the
Mhm.
president, the
Yeah,
president is the COG, the chief of graph.
of course, absolutely.
His cronies are the deputies of graph, DOG. All right. He's the
Yeah,
chief of graph, and they are the deputies of graph.
how can this man boast
All
of
of these guys came to power with nothing,
nothing?
precisely nothing.
Nothing.
Or I take the all back and say majority of them.
My man, I would say all.
No, I would just do the benefit
No,
of the doubt.
Volcano.
Majority of them, Moses,
Let me
came to
be
power
frank.
with
Okay, I
nothing.
agree. Yeah.
In 5 years, going 6, they're all millionaires. The other night I call all the millionaires. I'm not saying it because I'm speculating. It's by the
permanent. It's
lifestyle.
public information. You see the
Yeah,
thing
and it's
out
by the
there. Yeah.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's by what they have in assets, the number of houses, the number
Yeah.
of cars, the cost of those material, those properties. They're millionaires. And you say you're fighting corruption?
Yeah. How and let's ask President Weah and his supporters this question. How can they prove us wrong by what the president by saying or by challenging what we are saying? The president said over the year he has proven to be committed to fighting graft, right? But how can he be committed to fighting graft when it took the United States to coerce him? He said, hey, my man, tell Maggie to stand aside, man. Tell Serena C4 he's a bad apple. Bill Tuawe, these guys are undermining Liberia's ability to try. If you don't do that, there will be punitive actions. And then he reluctantly asked McGill to step aside. He promised to investigate the three of them since August, when these guys were sanctioned by the U.S. Treasury Department. How can someone who say he's committed to fighting graft, but it will take a foreign country to tell another sovereign country, because in Liberia they say they are sovereign, right? To tell another sovereign country that this is what you need to do. Isn't that hypocritical? A senator.
So what was the next thing on the
Okay, the next thing is what? The rule of law. Mr. Weah says his administration is committed to the rule of law. Volcano, you go to Liberia on a regular basis. I want to put this on your lap. Speak to the rule of law in today's Liberia. What Mr. Weah reported, does that represent fantasy or reality?
But it's clear, everyone knows that Liberia is a lawless society. People do what they want to do, just in the traffic alone. Like we talked about, people taking their diet, putting it in bags and throwing it in the gutter. Is that a country of law? Is that a country of the rule of law? That a sound or a citizen who should be sound and seen should take their filth from their house, wait for nighttime, and come and throw it in the gutter, and there's no repercussion. When you look at a Jefferson Koji threatening people, and a group of students being attacked
The young
in
man
front of
from the
the
University of
American
Liberia.
embassy. Today
Yes.
we don't know what is happening to Christopher Civilli. When you have people trying to jump, what the guy's name, Louis Brown. Is that a
Is
country
that
of
a rule of
rule of
law?
law? When the other day I spoke with someone who said that just a minor dispute, these people went to this family house and vandalized the cars and set the house ablaze.
Yeah.
So many things are happening in the country. When you talk about rule of law, when people are having a crusade, a worship service, and a bunch of bandits go there and create a stampede, well, a number of people lost their lives, including children, mothers, women, men, at in New Crew Town. Is that a country
Of
that
rule of law?
practices the rule of law? Is that a country that hold people accountable? And many of these things are, whether investigated, there's no outcome. No one knows.
No.
When three boys got missing for
The
all this time,
auditors.
when
The
we find the
auditors.
bodies all in the streets, and then they come out and say, oh, you know what? The people ain't able to bury the bodies, so they put it in the street. When an auditor gets killed and a group of auditors get killed, is that a country of rule of law? When a police officer is alleged, or a security officer is alleged of shooting himself 3 times,
In the head.
is that a country of rule of law? So we can
Absolutely.
point to many things that Mr. Weah, there's no credibility on that one.
Yeah.
But Moses, let me open the line so it
Yeah,
provides
sure.
the opportunity for people to
Yeah, for
call
people
in
to ask. Yeah.
as we continue the conversation.
Mhm.
We'd like to post the number now. It's 404-272-2808. 404-272-2808. Call in if you want to join the conversation. This is your country. This is our country. We all need to talk this together. If you have your perspectives, we'd like to hear from you. In as much you're charming in the chat room, but sometimes we just like to hear you,
Yeah, yeah,
because if you don't speak now, if you don't address some of these things now, you got another 6 years to wait. I can tell you that.
absolutely.
You got another 6 years to wait.
Yeah.
This president will do anything for power. Anything. Anything. Like I watched a movie called Turista. It was a movie for, you know, and the setting was Brazil. And the guy said, I would do anything to get a cold bath. I would even lick the sweat of a monkey balls. So George Weah will lick the sweat of a monkey balls to be president for another 6 years. And I just thought to throw this phone in there. But Weah
Yeah.
would do anything to sustain power.
Mhm.
He would do anything. So continue, Moses. So what's the
Yeah.
next thing?
The president spoke about improvement in Liberia's health and educational sectors.
Okay.
Is that fact or fiction? That's a fiction. Schools are closing down because they
Okay.
don't have
So
teachers.
let me throw this out there. If the president had
Yes.
confidence in the healthcare sector of
Yeah.
Liberia,
Mm-hmm.
then with what's his name? Samuel
Tua,
Tuer
Samuel Tua
get on
and
the
his
charter
wife.
flight to go to Turkey.
Yeah.
If they have confidence in the health sector,
In the health sector.
would
Yeah.
Joel Howard be seeking medical attention from abroad?
Yeah. Very
At
good.
least Joe Parker went to
He
ERWA.
went to ELA.
He went to ERWA,
He
and we're
went to
not talking
ELA.
because Parker mayor or anything. We're just talking about you, the ruling part, the party, the ruling government. Your people going to Ghana, going to other countries, and then you say you got confidence in your healthcare sector. But
Yeah.
how much of the healthcare sector do you have when the people have to take everything to the healthcare sector,
Yeah. No
to the
drugs.
hospitals,
No
from
drugs.
Clorox to
Everything you got.
gloves to
Yeah.
alcohol
Everything you
to
got to purchase
medication
it. Yeah.
to pills. So you know what? You know what a man Lucky Pharmacy did?
No.
He just strategically positioned himself right across the road
They
from
just go
JFK.
down there. Yeah.
From
And,
JFK.
and you go
The
to
man is a
JFK
the
if you
man is a
cannot
ratty
afford.
millionaire.
Yeah. Volcano. You go to JFK, you cannot afford. What do they do? They hold you as a
Hostage.
hostage. Yeah.
Is that a thriving healthcare sector? Is that a good healthcare sector that holding the
Yeah.
citizens
That's what
hostage?
our president is posting of.
All right.
So after he
Education.
made, yeah,
So let's
after,
go to education quick.
yeah, go to
We agree.
education.
We agree.
Mhm.
We agree. Plenty of people
Yeah.
in school.
Yeah.
We take
Play
it.
people in school, but the
But
schools are
the,
wow,
but
underfunded.
the just ended result from the national exam. Was
Almost
that a
everybody
reflection?
feel. Yeah.
Was that a reflection
Mhm.
of a good educational sector?
Mhm.
Is that a reflection?
Nothing.
So
You know,
I mean, these people just want to talk.
they
It's
just talk.
just it's a compulsory, it's a compulsory, like you said, it's compulsory for the president to address the country through the legislature, but it's also is the service for them to write things that
That they
have,
know don't reflect the truth.
things that have no credibility and just throw it at the poor people,
Yeah.
but the people look for it and they will deal with it. And again,
And
everything I say here, Moses, October 10, 2023.
absolutely. And Volcano, just before I move forward, I just wanted to say this quickly. Uh one of the one of Mr. Weir's biggest weaknesses is that he lacks the ability to do analytical thinking. And the purpose of graduate school is to prepare you as a manager to do analytical thinking. Mr. Weir is quote unquote a graduate. He has a master's degree. So if people bringing to him documents that require analytical review, I mean, it's this guy telling her that he does not have the ability to say, "Hey, my man, you're saying we have reduced inflation to the least. But my man, just the other day, did we not see the people in the street?
Yeah.
You said we have minimized the problem of crime. Don't we see people attacking people, breaking the laws there with impunity? And you want me to mount the podium and read this? That's what a good leader will do.
But Moses, you just struck a point. On Monday, we're having our leadership presentation where all
Yes,
leaders within the company come together
yes,
and do their slides and present it to the executive director. But you make your own presentation. So
yes,
you're representing the
y-
content that
y-
you put there
yes,
to delivering to the leaders in the organization.
absolutely.
And I was just reminded today, oh, do you know we have leadership meeting and I've been so busy and I lost track of time. So
Okay.
my slides should be in. I have to work extra to get it in
Yeah, to get it in. Yeah.
before Thursday. All
Okay.
right. So
Mhm.
it means that I'm going to gather that information from all of my
Your
supervisees,
people, yeah.
my direct reports. But each person sending what, I need to be in tune
You
to
need to
what they're
know.
sending. I need to make sure I edit that makes sense for me to put in a master presentation
Presentation. Yeah.
to submit to his administrative secretary, who would then compile from different departments and heads, and then make a final slide to give to the executive director for that
Absolutely.
presentation. It's a monthly presentation.
Yeah. The
We're not
higher
waiting
goal.
for we're not waiting for Sona. It's a monthly presentation. So I will call it Mona. Mona is the monthly
And monthly
monthly
address. Eh?
monthly address. Okay. It's a Mona. So that
Yeah.
Mona,
Yeah.
I have to do mine, and I make sure that I represent my Mona,
Of
my,
course.
my piece. So when I put my slides through, I got 5 slides to present, but it's detailed. It makes sense.
Yeah.
The bullets, everything. I have to say and get grilled on my Mona.
Of course.
Because
They're
other
gonna grill
people will
you.
be grilling me.
They will ask you question.
And sometimes we have the CFO on that meeting who keeping in touch because we are
Yeah.
a national organization. All
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So the CFO national America be
It's
there.
monitoring,
You
man.
said, Mr. Shelton, you said XYZ. How do you explain that part? You understand me?
They you say, oh, but that me put
Now,
it there that the people
somebody just send it to me. Oh. I just
say
put it
no.
inside the slide.
They say, "Oh, man, they may know what you do."
But I just say these things to say that our country has no nobody doing what is right.
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
is doing what is right. From
yeah.
the president to the janitor, from the president to the citizens. They just do what they think that they're doing and it makes sense and it's acceptable. People should accept it. But Mr. President, nowhere on earth you should deliver any speech that is more than 3 hours.
3 hours, man.
The most your speech, a credible speech at that magnitude should be 45 minutes to an hour the most.
Yeah.
45 minutes to an
I mean,
hour
you
the
just
most.
need a summary. That's
Yes.
all
You don't have to come in and tell us when you were born, where your
you
neighbors
need.
were buried, you grew up in Gibraltar and all of that. You play for all these teams, you won
Yeah,
Ballon d'Or. This is not what it's about. That is why you must be speaking to the people.
consistently.
Make it a monthly duty. You remember issues with the president when Sawyer
Yeah,
was in power?
yeah.
Every month Sawyer come to EFBC, we sit down with him, we have a conversation. He
And
gives us
his
update,
and his colleagues are always have what
you know.
monthly news conferences
So
with
Moses
journalists.
is
Yeah,
is a challenge. It's a serious challenge. We put a president in power who has had no job. This man never worked in a job. People say, oh, the man play football in a job. No, no, no.
no, yeah,
And not
man.
job.
That job there. We're
He
talking
was either
about
going
where
to
you go
practice.
sit down one place,
He was
you
going to
focus
practice.
and get things done.
In fact, he was reporting to somebody. So he had to
Yeah,
go to practice for him to make the team.
yeah.
But he was not leading people.
No,
He was not leading a country.
no.
He only took to be the head of the national team because he was the big chief
Yeah,
superstar. And so when the
yeah.
team assembly, he
He brought
comes with
them
his
together.
boys and they all can have fun. The coach too, that local man. So he said, Chief, yeah, yeah.
He said,
So
man,
I had
yeah,
it
lady,
operated.
yeah, yeah.
But this man never had a job that he led people. He went in the Senate. What did
Nothing he did.
What did Yombly say?
The
Yombly
man,
said the man was Bobo.
yeah, the man said nothing. They may
It took
spend
a
six
whole
years
year
in the
before the
Senate.
man could
Yeah.
even say hello to Youngblade because he was that scared. He was petrified. He said, "Well, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
What am I doing in this place? The people just pushing me. They say I'm gonna come practice here so I can be president."
Yeah.
But now he dancing buka.
Yeah.
And you come to the Liberian people again in 6 years and lying and being so winded with this report. 3 hours plus,
3 hours.
3 hours plus,
So
and
that,
you for real?
yeah, he went on reading and he was reading at a third grade level. So after he said all his things, two prominent opposition
I don't want you to go to
politicians,
the prominent opposition.
yeah,
I
but
wanted to capture this last part,
yeah,
Moses quick, before
okay,
we go to the opposition. Uh,
okay,
please, 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 please. I had to open, but
go
my
ahead,
phone
yeah,
knew.
go ahead.
So this last part
Mhm.
was what I wanted to capture quick. Hopefully it opens here.
That'll
Okay.
be good. Yeah, okay,
So I'm going to the bottom, all right? And
yeah,
you see how long it's taking me? Oh? I'm
yeah.
pushing the thing. The thing low like
Oh man,
the thing.
I mean, read
Yeah,
a dissertation, my man.
yeah, yeah.
It was
So
a dissertation, yeah.
he says here, I encourage and admonish you to seize the day, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. This is your time. This is our time. He's talking to his partisans.
Yeah, of
He's
course.
talking to his cronies. He's talking to his supporters.
Yeah.
And so, my fellow citizens, as we stand here today, let me assure you that the state of our nation is strong.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
The state of our nation is stable. The state of our nation is vibrant. The state of our nation is youthful. The state of our nation is peaceful and secure. We intend to keep it that way. So the state of our nation is youthful. That was what caught my attention.
Mhm.
And indeed, Mr. Weir, you were right. The state of the nation is youthful.
Yeah, because most of the
We have
leaders
a
are
lot
young
of
people.
youth in the country. But my question to you tonight is, what are you doing for those young people? 300 uh, plus thousand people who you are depending on to stand in line October 10th to vote for you. You put $30,000 in the budget for mental health. You put $100,000, $1 million rather,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the youth and sports budget for youth program. What can $1 million do? When you the other day had $92,000 in your pocket for 49 days, free money. When your wife has a little over $500,000 in the budget for jobs she's not doing. When the speaker budget is more than 1 point something million dollars for sitting around, and many of time we see Akara's Gray sitting there and what a guy named Funadi Kofa.
Yeah.
When all of these people, you're pro tem, and these people are millionaires. And now you're calling the youth, you're saying that the country is a youthful nation. Yes, it's indeed. But it's an empty, youthful nation when the youth are not being prepared to take on the helm of leadership. To succeed those of you who are now in power. No robust program. Nothing you're doing. You see them walking on the streets. You see them in hideouts. You see them in little enclaves and corners and stuff. You see them with their own little destitute communities. You're doing nothing for these young people, but you say the nation is youthful.
Yeah.
You also say that the nation is vibrant. Do you really understand the word vibrant? Do you know what vibrant means? Have you defined vibrant, Mr.
The man,
President?
the man cannot. He
You said the
doesn't know.
nation is strong. When people are struggling on a day-to-day basis, they cannot find the necessities of their livelihood. When everything is
At a standstill.
skyrocketed by price, when the very rice that you afford to sustain at keep at a price of $13 to $14 is now $18 to $20. And in your 6 years, I can see it going to $25 to $30 for 25-pound bags of rice, a bag of rice rather. When gasoline is high and transportation, people have reverted to walking 10 to 15 miles a day to and
Hmm.
fro to get to places. And you say the nation is strong? Well, if you say the nation is stable, yes, I agree to a greater extent. We don't
Yeah,
have
okay.
war and it's the absence of bullets and what have you, but we still have
Mhm.
instability.
Of
When you
course.
think about the armed robbery, when you think about people dying unexplained death,
The mob actions and all of
mob
that. So
actions,
I don't know his definition of
that's
stability.
so stable is relative.
Yeah.
When you say peaceful and secure, oh yes, you appear to be secure because you don't have threat from your neighbors, but eternally there's a lot of stuff going on.
Hmm.
But just the other day, you found all these arms coming in the country, and up to now we don't know the outcome. And you said the country is peaceful and secure. So, Mr. President, there's a lot of things here that needs to be addressed. And I don't think you're cut for the job. I said that the other day, and I'm saying it again. Take your $500 million you have attained, quietly walk away, leave the Liberian people in the country, let them find someone who can make a major transformation. It will do well for you. Don't force this. You're not cut for this job. You cannot lead Liberia. So, Moses, this is where I will end.
A very good point. And I would just like to end on by the reactions to the Sona from Labour Party political leader Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence. The senator described the president's speech as a representation of what she calls two Liberia, one in fantasy, another in reality. So basically, what she was saying is that the president lied about almost everything he said. The president said Liberia's economy, she said the senator said, despite the president claiming that the economy is strong, the senator said the economy is in reverse with high inflation in the price of basic commodities. She also made mention of a decline. She said over the years, what the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, has done for Liberia is to build the country out. While Mr. Weah, is boasting about the economy being strong, she said in 2020, the IMF gave Liberia 200 million US dollars to help salvage Liberia's economy. In 2021, the IMF gave another $350 million to help the country deal with its economic woes.
It's 500 plus million now
Yeah,
in 2
450 million.
years.
Yeah.
Are
And
these
what
monies free or they loans?
free, I think they are donations.
Mm.
Mhm. Since coming to the presidency, Liberia's international and domestic debt, I'm trying to do a comparison here. Liberia's international or foreign and domestic debt in the Salif administration The senator put that at 900 million US dollars. In Weah's administration, almost 6 years, domestic debt, 835 million US dollars. We're talking about domestic debt, 835 million US dollars. Foreign debt, 1.1 billion US dollars. So that just double almost everything. When you do a combine of what Salih was obligated, the Salih administration was obligated to people locally and internationally was 900 million US dollars. Mr. Weir increased that
2 billion.
significantly.
Just put it at 2 billion if you do the math. Just put it at two
Yeah,
billion.
almost $2
So
billion.
yeah, Ellen was close to one
Yeah,
billion, and so
yeah,
he was
almost $2 billion
almost 2 billion. Yeah.
in both local and foreign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And according to the
So
senator,
so where you think all that money going? That money going in the pockets of people,
what are you
because
talking
that's
about?
what we're seeing here.
Yeah,
There's a man who claimed to have been fighting corruption when you have triple or rather double the debt, but the
yeah,
debt that you've doubled, we can see the opulence under which your folks are living. We
of
can
course.
see your ministers. You can see their stomachs. You can see
You can see
the,
the
the,
homes, my man, the
the
cars
fat.
the boys
You can
drive.
see
Yeah.
the trousers can fit them. You can see all these things. You can see people who had no money still now millionaires.
My
All
girl,
of that is
Montana
infused in that
Miguel,
point, almost $2 billion. Moses,
former minister Miguel, who is now
yeah.
building roads all over the place. Where did he
Where
take the
would
money
McGill
from?
take money from to build roads?
Yeah, yeah.
If he didn't backs in that two almost $2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
If McGill walk away with $15 million, he's solid.
He's solid,
If Samuel Tua walks away with $100 million, he weighs solid.
of course.
And the
Man,
rest of these guys, and that's
yeah,
that's all they're doing.
yeah,
This is
right.
our time. He re-emphasized that.
Yeah, our
He
time. Yeah, grab
re-emphasized
and go.
that
Yeah.
in his speech.
Mm-hmm.
This is our time.
Grab and go. And he boasted about fighting graft. Senator Kanga said what she has seen into this Liberia is an increase in corrupt practices and political patronage. So people who want to be seen favorably, even if the man is doing wrong, they say, Paku, you strong. Because with that continue, I may call him Paku, you strong, or saying Paku, you strong, then the president will look the other way and people will do whatever they want to do to help themselves or they can do to help themselves. So there have been an increase in corrupt practices and political patronage. Now let's come to Mr. Cummings of the
Could we
collaborating
just be as
political
brief
parties.
as about a minute?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
going to be very brief.
Yeah, because we got
That is what Mr. Cummings said about the Sonon. He said the Sonon represents falsehood. Everything George we had said, according to Mr. Cummings, represented nothing but falsehood, meaning the president lied about almost everything. He said the Weah administration spent 6 years partying and playing, and that was led by the president himself. Mr. Cummings said when Mr. Weah was elected, he knew nothing about what to do as a president. Instead, he has not understand or he has not been able to learn what to do as a president. When he came to the presidency, he knew nothing what to do as a president. And even now, as I speak to you, he has not learned what to do as a president.
I think that sums it up, Moses. No,
Definitely, it
yeah,
does.
no further comment. No
Yeah,
further comment. Again, my man, listen, it was good that we could hang out here tonight
yeah, it
to
was.
discuss all of the bullets we talked about. Again, we want to remind you, our viewers, will not be broadcasting on Friday. We'll be in Dallas, Texas for the funeral of Patrick Manjo, a fallen brother, a fallen journalist, one of Liberia's best when it comes to
Yeah.
broadcast journalism. And we'll be laying him to rest this weekend. So Moses and I will be out there
By God's
in,
grace.
in
Yeah.
Dallas by the grace of God.
Yeah.
So we'll be resuming broadcast on Tuesday. Uh, you know, in February. Again, we want to thank you so much for being here with us. We appreciate your time. To every one of you, Paul Johnson, Namiento Brown, we say thank you for joining the conversation. T. Awaji, Flomo Livingstone, Amma Freeman, good to see you, my brother. Would like to thank Gwen Jones Smith, River Says Pro, for coming through. The controversial River Says Pro. He always got something to be controversy
Yeah.
about.
Powerful
Um,
River Seven,
the other
man. River
Sterling,
Seven
it was good
Pro.
seeing you here tonight. The other Stella Herring, rather, it's good seeing you here tonight with us. And Flomo Livingston, Mapu Hall, all of you good people, we say thank you for joining us. Share the word, invite others to join us. We'd like to have all of you here in a conversation. Next week, we don't know what we'll be discussing, but by the time we get there, I'm sure like there's all when you wake up, you get something out of there.
Yeah, the
Joseph
stories are
Konto,
always
it
popping
was good
up.
seeing you here with us tonight. Make it a second time. Emmanuel Jackson, Tawanda T, Umontra Krenga, Steam Bonge. Good to see you here with us. Hinksin Tamba from Burkina Faso and that of Moyu. Everyone who showed up, we say thank you for joining us. We'll be back here on Tuesday next week. Again, I'm Volcano, Shelton, Moses, Sandy. Good night from the issues room. Um, we couldn't do this without you. It's always good to have you guys. Thank you. Moses?
Thank you. Thank you, Volcano. Uh, catch us soon.